Custom Parts RC.
Hello, my name is Jimmy, and I used to have what they call the two wheel RC podcast, where we used to teach the dynamics of radio controlled motorcycles and try to get people to enjoy them. Since then, RC motorcycles in the United States have gone um, a little bit by the wayside, but with the advent of the new low C dirt bike coming out there, people are starting to get interested in RC bikes again, and they're wondering why there aren't any RC road bikes out there. Well, there are plenty of RC road bikes out there, but since most of them are being raced in Europe and Japan and China and every place else other than the United States, they're very hard to come across. But there are some websites that carry them and that ship worldwide. And you, if you want to get into RC motorcycles, you can do so. But the problem is that so many of these end up on eBay because people don't take the time to learn how to drive them because they're used to driving RC cars and they become very ham fisted with these, with how they're controlling them. Because controlling an RC motorcycle requires way more finesse and you cannot get a motorcycle to turn more by turning the controller more. So that's where people are getting frustrated because the bikes don't perform or behave the way they want them to because they're being ham fisted with the controls. But I'm going to explain to you how RC motorcycles work so that hopefully we don't get a bunch of these ending up on eBay and more people can actually enjoy these. This bike is my 1/5 scale race bike. It is what they call a Jabber 13. Jabber is Jabber, which basically is just another bike by Eddie Racing. And the bike came out in 2013. So hence Jabber 13. It's a race bike and it's designed for the road. So therefore it does not have a gyro. Road bikes do not need gyros because as long as they're rolling, just like when you were a little kid and you take a hula hoop or a tire and roll it down the street and it would stay rolling, these bikes work the same way. As long as they're upright and moving, they'll continue to roll. The only time you need a gyro is in a dirt bike because when the back end loses traction in loose dirt, the gyro helps the bike maintain its upright position. The way these work is an RC motorcycle, unlike a real motorcycle, has to have the axle of the front wheel behind the axis of the steering. As you can see, the axis of the steering is here, and if you look down, the axle for the front wheel is behind the steering axis. That allows the front wheel to perform like the front wheels of a shopping cart, where they self-center so that the bike continues to go straight by the front wheel self-centering. Also, there is a flexible link or a spring-loaded link attaching the front steering to the steering servo. And what that does is it allows the front wheel to freely move and stay moving straight when it's going straight. I know I messed that up, but I'm not going to do another take. So, anyway, so the way these bikes work is the steering on these is reversed from what you're doing with your controller. If you want to make one of these bikes make a left turn, you're going to turn this controller to the left, but the front wheel is going to go to the right. And what that does, it upsets the gyroscopic effect of the wheels that's keeping the bike upright, and the bike will lean to the left or fall to the left. And once it falls over, the spring loaded steering that wants to self center will click over to the left, and the bike will go around the turn. Same way with the right turn. If you want to make a right turn, you're going to turn the controller to the right, which is going to make the front wheel go to the left, and it's going to make the bike fall to the right. And once it falls to the right, the soft link to the steering servo is going to make the front wheel turn, and it's going to go around the turn. Now, if you want to make a tighter turn, you use less throttle, because the less throttle you use, the more the bike will lean over, and the tighter your turn would be. If you use more throttle, the bike will be upright more, and your turn will be larger. Same way with the other side. Once again, you want to make a turn this way, you turn the controller to the left, your front wheel is going to kick over to the right, and then as it starts to lean over, it's going to make the bike fall over to the left, and once it starts falling over, that the way the linkage is set up and the soft linkage and the way the geometry is will make the front wheel go to the left, and the bike will go around the turn. Once again, less throttle, the bike will lean over more, and your turn will be tighter. More throttle, the bike will be more vertical, and the turn will be larger. Now, what happens is that people get really ham-fisted with their controllers because they're used to using their controllers on RC cars, where if you want to make a tighter turn, you turn more. But that's the opposite of what you do with the RC motorcycles. Because what happens is the bike leans over to the right and starts turning. If you want to make it turn more to the right and you're using your RC car knowledge and you're cranking that controller to the right, you're going to make the front wheel go out to the left, which makes the bike fall over and then slide straight on the ground, because the front wheel isn't going around the turn, you're pushing the front wheel away from the turn. Same way with the other side. If the bike is leaning this way and you want to make a tighter left turn, people have a tendency to crank more on the controller to the left, which is going to make the front wheel kick out to the right, and the bike will fall over flat and slide on its side. These bikes, in order to make them turn tighter or bigger, you just use your throttle. The steering is only a suggestion. You give it a little bit of steering input to get the bike to kick over in the direction you want it to go in. Then you use your throttle to make the turn larger or tighter. And then you use your steering to correct or to come out of a turn. That's how that works. So I hope my long-winded verbally instructions is enough to give you an idea of how this stuff works, so that these bikes don't keep ending up on eBay because people get frustrated, and they end up on eBay more because people want to share their love for RC bikes. Because right now the only bikes we can get in the United States are the Kyosho Hang-On Rider motorcycles and the low-C dirt bike. So hopefully this information will be enough to get people to create more RC bikes, and we'll get more people out there having a good time with these. But thank you for listening. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe and hit the like button and share it with your buddies, because the more people we get out there RC biking, the more RC bikes you'll see out on the market. In the meantime, this is Jimmy, Monster Parts RC. I'm out.
Now I'm nudging it to the turn, and right now I am not using the steering at all. And I just make the smaller turns by adjusting the throttle. Then I can make larger turns by going on the throttle more. There's another direction. I just nudged it in the other direction, and it's turning by itself. Then I just use the steering to nudge it in the other direction, and there we go. Off it goes.